So Matthew, thank you very much for your time today and joining from California. And again,
Yeah.
congratulations for winning the Best Film Award last year at our festival with your film Escape from Extinction, Rewilding. We were really happy that you could come and join us for the festival and get your award in person. How was your experience in the festival here in The Hague?
Oh, everything about it was incredible. Well, in the first place, it was just the Hague in general was just such an incredible place to visit and experience. And I had heard of it and I hadn't been, so that was incredible. And the actual film festival was such an interesting mix of curated films, and I got to meet all these wonderful filmmakers. And I think it was just so good because I actually got to interact and meet a lot of the filmmakers and talk to them. And I think that some of the other festivals I've been to, they're so big and you kind of get lost in the shuffle. And it was really nice that we had this intimate experience with the other filmmakers, the programmers, and get to talk to people. Like one of the filmmakers there sent me a script and I read it and I gave some notes on it after the fact. And so it's already started these kind of
Oh,
conversations.
yeah, that's great. That's also what we like, the connections that people make during the festival, because yeah, as you mentioned, it's not so big, it's more cozy, people really want to interact, and yeah, it's really, really glad. I'm glad to hear that you had a very good experience. So yeah, your film. Let's talk about your film because it got really, really. Everyone was really excited about your film. It's a beautiful shot and very necessary documentary about what we can do about these endangered species, and talk about a lot of successful conservation projects around the world. How was the process of filming this documentary? Because I saw so many, I mean, there are so many shootings everywhere, animals involved, people involved, a lot of locations. How was it?
It was good. It was an adventure. It's a sequel. So the first film we had done is called Escape from Extinction, and we were lucky enough to get Helen Mirren to narrate that. And we had some success, really shining a light on kind of what's going on in good zoos and aquariums. And there had been a lot of pushback from various organizations that just hate zoos and aquariums without really knowing the story, or they're conflating good zoos with bad zoos, or they just
Mhm.
psychologically don't like to see an animal in a small space and don't know the origin of that animal story. Was that animal an orphaned by its mother that was shot by a poacher, or was that animal injured and now they're in this space? So like that was really where we all started with, like, how do we tell these animal stories as they're helped from good zoos and aquariums? And then we wanted to tell the story of what's happening in the wild, and how you can actually do the same work, the conservation work that comes out of a lot of zoos and aquariums and other environmental organizations and animal organizations to help the animals in the wild. But the biggest disconnect is you have to also be helping the people at the same time. So if you're putting animals against people, you're never going to succeed. The people have to benefit just as much. So we really tried to find stories and tell stories where the animals were the resource, just like oil and water and gold and all of our crops and all of those other things that bring income into communities. They're
Mm.
treasured and protected. So how do we find those stories and tell those stories? And Rwanda was just a great place to start with that, because they had taken a situation where people were poaching mountain gorillas for their hands. Actually, they were taking the hands and selling them to China for good luck trophies or whatever. That was more valuable than protecting the animals. Now the government turned everything around, and now it's more valuable for the community to protect these animals and
Mhm.
to have tourism and hotels and you know everything that is involved with a hotel, from the maintenance workers to the housekeeping to the you know restaurant staff, all the way to the tour guides, and the trickle down of all of the jobs that are created. Plus the government gives money to the community as well for hospitals and schools and all of that. So that's just the mountain gorilla story, but then there's all of the countries that have safaris and uh you know just animal experiences are also benefiting in this way, and it's incredible.
Yeah, yeah. For me, this film I like it a lot because first it gives hope. because we are all the time hearing about this horrible news that we are, destroying the environment and ruining all the ecosystems and everything. But this film really gives hope actually can do, because I read doing my research, I read a not so positive review on The Guardian, because I know that the film has been in the UK in the cinemas, and this this journalist say that I don't agree with him always because I know him. I mean, I know him. I read his reviews, and not I don't always agree. And here I didn't either, because he says that the film basically kind of justifies sometimes ecotourism and control hunting to fund this kind of projects. But at the same time, in my view, and I think it's yours, tell me if it's not, we need to be realistic about things. And it's true that sometimes you need to get governments and locals involved. And it's true they are going to be involved if there is also resources and money from these projects. So what is your view on that as well?
Yeah, that was a tough story to tell. We wanted to be really sensitive because we're absolutely against trophy hunting, and that stuff
Mm,
is just so terrible. But there's a very big difference between trophy hunting and culling, and that's something that people conflate all the time. And we tried to really draw a line, which everyone seemed to get except for The Guardian. We actually had
yes.
the Guardian gave us a horrible review on the last film as well, so
Oh,
they hate
okay.
us. But one of the things that we've noticed through this process is there's certain people and community members that no matter what you say about people involved with animals, they hate it. It doesn't matter what you say. They want animals to be free and running around free, and they
Mm,
have a vision of kind of like animals frolicking in the wilderness without any harm and
and
without
rainbows.
rainbows and puppies. And yeah, so we wish that was the world, but it's not. So we do have to step in and manage populations, or they will all die. And we've seen this multiple times, like with the vaquita off the coast of Mexico. There's only 7 or 8 vaquitas left because we didn't step in early enough when there was time to fix it. And now that species is going to go extinct on our watch.
Mm.
So leave people alone. That's a very popular thing. Zoos are prisons. Leave animals alone. Let them do their own thing, and they go extinct if you don't take care of them when they're an endangered population. So yeah, so it was just really complicated trying to tell those stories because every story is different and every situation's different. So you can't put a blanket rule on anything involving
Mm.
animals. You can't just say, oh, with all these animals we should do this, because every story is different. So we were trying to draw a line between just a different outcome for different animals in different situations in different countries and different cultures, and how they treat it, and respecting what their rules and regulations are. And so that's what we tried to do, is highlight it, but we're never going to get 100% of the people
Of course.
agreeing with our stance, and that's just the reality of making a film. And thank God for that, because we want to have opposing views, and we want to start conversations, and we want to
Mm.
have people really get riled up about this. And what do you want to do? And let's talk about it, and let's make this into the conversation. This conversation we're having right now is exactly why I
Yeah,
get
exactly.
reviews like that.
Yeah. I hear that, yeah, your passion when you talk about this. What is your connection with wildlife? Have you ever always been interested in animals and the wild of the
Well,
yeah.
of course I love nature, and I was a Boy Scout growing up, an Eagle Scout
Mm,
actually. But I think that my passion really for this film and this filmmaking process was, like everybody else, we all think we're experts on whatever we're talking about because we read a 2-line thing on Instagram, or
mm, yeah.
something on X, and now, or a celebrity said something, so now we're going to say it like it's factual information, or it's real, or it's true. Or so my journey with this filmmaking process was learning that a lot of the things that I thought were wrong, and a lot of the things that I was running around saying were incorrect, and I was repeating misinformation. And so when I really started to dig into this in researches, I got really passionate, because I also said some of the things that the people in our movies say. I often said, oh, I don't know if I like this zoo because the cage is too small, or I don't know if I like this place because they took these animals from the wild, not knowing that these animals were saved because they were, their mother was killed by a poacher and now they had
Mm,
nowhere to go. So they were going to die and starve to death or be taken in by the zoo and aquarium facility. Or just even Rwanda. Like the only thing I knew about Rwanda was the genocide. And
mm,
I was nervous to go there. That's all I had heard in our mainstream
mm.
media in the United States. That was all that I knew of. So to go there and see what incredible things they have done for the animals in the community, and so to be able to share it and shine a light on it for other people to learn was just an incredible, and it does make me so passionate because there's a right way to help animals and the wrong way to help animals, and most people that you meet do want to help animals. There's very few people that hate animals or don't care.
Mm,
A lot of people think they're going about it the right way and are doing the absolute wrong thing, and that's the biggest disconnect that we have. It's like, oh, I want
yeah,
to help animals, so I'm going to boycott a zoo. I'm like, okay, well, that particular zoo that you're boycotting donates $3 million a year to save the red panda. So
yeah.
boycotting them, that extra money that they have for donations is going to go away. Or,
Mm,
or just like, I don't want to go to Rwanda because they don't take care of animals. Well, in 1982, they did not do a good job of taking care of the gorillas. Now they do an incredible job of taking care of gorillas. So it's
yeah.
about just kind of getting the right information at the right time.
No, yeah, that's why I love so much this film because for me it was also an eye opener. I really didn't know about these things, and I also was one of the typical person. I'm not going to go to a zoo or any animal that is not in the wild is not correct. But yeah, for me it has changed a lot, and I really appreciate that you're doing this work, of course. Um, and talking about the film and how the process was, so the film is narrated by Meryl Streep. How easy or difficult was to have her on board for this project?
Well, so okay, so we were making the movie. We were in editing and just about finishing up during this big Screen Actors Guild strike that everyone was talking about. So there was this just kind of drought of work and nothing was happening. And I know Meryl's agent, and he's a wonderful, wonderful person. And I had just sent him it was like a miracle story from Hollywood. I just sent him an email and I just said, hey, we would love to have narrate this movie. And he actually wrote me back and just said, I can't do anything till the strike's over. When the strike's over, hit me up.
Mm,
She might be interested. And I did. And she said yes. It was like the craziest thing that's ever happened. Because normally you have a list of, 900 people and you have someone like Meryl Streep or Helen Mirren at the top. And then you go down, 899 and you finally get somebody on the 900. So this was like the opposite of everything I'm used to and everything I've learned. It was really, mind-boggling in a great way that I was able to get Meryl Streep, and her presence just helps elevate the film itself because
yeah,
it's Meryl Streep and she's so talented and wonderful, but also it gets us out there in places we would have never gotten necessarily. Like even this film, we're on American Airlines right now in the United States as part of their Earth Day programming, and to me that's like
yeah,
a big win. And another client of mine saw actually Robin Ganser, the executive producer of the film, she was flying on Emirates to do conservation work in Africa, and she saw the film on Emirates as well. So it's getting out there, and of course, having Meryl Streep uh, as the narrator is a huge piece of that exposure.
helps
And
a lot. Yeah, of course. So how happy are you with the repercussion of the film till now? Are you happy on how it's tracking and how people are talking about the film, etc.? What is your feeling right now?
I'm always filled with two emotions at the same time. I am absolutely thrilled and so happy with all the wonderful things that are happening, and I always want to have more. Like I just was like, we're on Amazon Prime in the United States, which is a huge deal, and I think it's amazing. And I also want to be on Netflix and Hulu and all the other ones. With my last film and this film, certain countries jump right at it, and certain countries don't, and it's so confusing, like why
Mm,
last year we could not get Spain to release the film, and we shot a lot of the movie in Spain and we told Spanish stories. And
mm,
then this year we opened theatrically in Spain and we sold out a screening in Madrid. We opened in Madrid and Tenerife, and so it's just weird because in the last film we had a much bigger stories
yeah,
about Spain. This film we really didn't, but this film opened in Spain and the last one didn't. So that type of thing is disappointing because it's frustrating. Like why does this happen and not that? But at the same time, it's so exciting to be all of a sudden I'll just get an email and say like, oh, the Czech Republic just bought the film. I'm like, oh, that's incredible. Like so wonderful that they're gonna and my first film opened theatrically in Russia during the war, and I just couldn't believe
Oh,
we were playing in the Moscow, I guess there's a theater in the Moscow like aquarium complex, and we were playing in that theater and all the way to the border of China we were playing. So how interesting is that
amazing.
that we're
Mm.
getting a theatrical release in Russia, nothing in Spain, a theatrical release in Australia, nothing in Italy, a theatrical release in the UK. Like it's just so fun how it all works out and so weird.
And do you ever really know why or find the reason why it might be?
No,
Or no, it's
no, I
totally
think it's like
random.
I think it's the mood of the programmers. I have no idea. It's so bizarre. It's like getting
Yeah.
into a film festival. You just all of a sudden you're just like, oh my God, this is so cool. I got into this film festival. And that was the way I felt when I got into your film festival. I couldn't believe it. And the capital of Europe and all the I mean, just from Brussels to you guys, it's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. No, thank you. Um, so talking about, yeah, the feeling this film gives to the audience of optimism, will you say you are an optimist?
Yeah, I had done the like doom and gloom version of the film, and that's not a good way to leave. We had actually been to another film festival, and it was about the polar ice caps, and they had 20 years of photos, and in the first photo there's all this ice everywhere, and by the 20th photo there was nothing left, and I just felt so hopeless because I
Mm,
felt like it was really out of my control. And so I really wanted to make this manageable. I have kids that are 9 and 12 now, and I wanted them to
mm,
be able to see this film and say, you know what, I can go out and do that. I can't stop the polar ice caps from melting, but I can certainly go spend $5 to red panda conservation or um another or gorilla conservation, or go and clean up the beach or do something that can help in a small way, resulting in a big way. But the biggest thing about this film that's been incredible is that we played the film for US Congress. We played the film for EU Parliament. I was in Brussels in last month. I was in Brussels in
mhm.
April playing for EU Parliament, and we played for UK Parliament as well in London. So we're using this film as a message of hope, but also a message for systematic change and how we can actually help do things the right way and help our economies and our animals and our planet at the same time. And there is a way to do it, and there's a path forward. And this movie highlights some stories about that.
Yeah, definitely. So Matthew, what's next? Avnis told me, the director of the festival, that you are working already on something. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, I can. I'm working on the third film in this installment. We just got a green light on the film, and we're going to talk about the future of conservation. And there is so much, all we hear about in the news in general is AI and what's happening with
Mm,
that's just but how is that being applied to animals? And there's so many interesting things with the technology that's out now that wasn't out 10 years ago, like drones and
mm,
AI and this CRISPR technology. There's this incredible technology out now called CRISPR technology, and it's leading to um, front page news with 1 billion hits about bringing the dire wolf back from extinction after 13,000 years. And so we're actually going to go and talk to those
wow.
people and talk about what that means for the environment and the planet and how that can help. And that is also like my first film was zoos and aquariums. It's very polarizing, these stories. Why are we talking about bringing the woolly mammoth back when we can't even save the animals that are here? So
Mm,
a lot of really interesting people already have really strong opinions, and I guarantee you that they know almost nothing about it. So I want to shine a light on what's actually happening, um,
yeah.
in what that means for the environment. Like bringing the woolly mammoth back to the environment sounds crazy, but do you know what purpose the woolly mammoth served for carbon sequestering in the tundra and the
Mm,
steppe in Siberia? And I guarantee that most people don't know about that. So I want to tell people what role that animal would play, and then people can make up their own mind. But I want to shine a light on all the cool things that are happening that can help animals.
yeah, no, it sounds super interesting. I'm already looking forward to watch it.
Yeah, I am too. Because I have so many questions. That's the fun part about being a documentarian. I have so many questions that I want to have answered. So I've been reading all the books, and we actually start filming next month in
Uh-huh.
Texas. And I'm so
Nice.
excited to just do some interviews and start asking questions and learning as I go.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking about filming in shooting in Texas, this is really good for my next question. It's a bit about politics, so feel free to say I don't want to talk about it because I know politics. But it's about, of course, I have to ask you, how is the atmosphere now in the US regarding all these tariffs that Trump is saying that is going to apply to films made outside the US? Do you think it's something that he's really going to do, or how is that going to work, or what is your view?
That's a good question. There's a lot of things that come out and then they disappear as quickly as they
Mm,
came, and I have a feeling this will be one of them. I did have a conversation yesterday with some conservationists in Florida, and I did ask if, like, because the first step when an animal's injured, like if a manatee gets hit by a boat, for example, or a dolphin gets hit by a boat, U.S. Fish and Wildlife will come out and determine if that animal can be released back or they need to be permanently sent to a zoo or aquarium, and then they'll make that decision. So I did, and a lot of people don't know that that's a government role. So I did ask yesterday, like, has that been impacted by all of these cuts I keep hearing about?
mm,
And the answer was that has not been impacted yet. So
mm-hmm,
I think one of the great things about, because we do have supports on both sides of the aisle for environmental policy,
mm-hmm,
so that has been one of the really good things is that um, both there's so many things that are so polarizing in the world, and a lot of the stuff around animals leans to animal conservation. So that hope to God that that stays on track. Um,
mm,
but the film thing, just the film thing with the taxes and stuff, I think that maybe is more of a threat to just bring more work into the United States. I live in
mm.
California. In California, the film business when I moved here was just ran, just like Detroit is a car town,
Yeah.
California was a film town, and that's not the case anymore because so many things have left.
Mm,
But that is in a lot of ways our own fault because we haven't made it easy to film there, and other countries and other states are doing one huge tax incentives and programs to make it
mm.
easier. So I think that starting this conversation around bringing shining a light on what needs to be done to get this people working again is really important, and I hope it works out the right way.
Yeah, me too. I really hope so. So thank you so much, Matthew. It was really interesting talking to you. I don't want to take too much time from you because I know you are busy and you have a lot of things to prepare for your next film. So
Well, I'm
yeah,
honored to talk to you, and I'm so touched and flattered that you saw the film, and I hope that we do have a distribution in the Netherlands soon, and in Belgium and the whole region, and just that whole part of Europe. It's really important that we get out there and get the film out, and
yeah,
all the places
hopefully.
that
Yeah.
have supported us so well. We also had some support in the UK as well. So we did have a theatrical release in the UK, so we're waiting on streaming. But just one by one, I'm waiting for the countries to kind of click in, and hopefully Germany will be on board soon. And we really want to get the people in Europe on board to see it.
Yeah, we will help us in anything we can with this interview, and of course, yeah, it's a pleasure to help films like yours and teams like yours.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Matthew.
Okay, it was wonderful, wonderful to meet you, and hit me up anytime.
Yeah, thank you.